Okay, and continuing with our personal growth and our journey to discover our characters, our true self, away from what society wants us to believe or how society wants us to act, there's a lot of thought involved. All right, so um, the way I look at it is the thought is untamed. You got to tame your thoughts, and the only way to do it is to train your thoughts, right? So if you are a powerful thinker, yet you don't know how to guide your thought into the right, I guess, direction, the direction you want to go, right? It's important to cultivate, right? And in my opinion, the way to do that is to read. So I have this book here, As You Think by James Allen, right? And I want to read a passage here, and I just want to do this because I want to give an example of all the knowledge that's out there, right? That is at our fingertips, right? In books. Let's take advantage of this knowledge. Let's seek knowledge and become all that we can be, right? So check this out. The soul attracts that which it secretly harbors, what it loves, and also what it fears. It reaches the height of its cherished aspirations, and it falls to the depth of its recurring, unexamined fears. Circumstances are the means by which the soul receives its own. Every thought seed, right? So a thought, you plant a seed of thought, right? So that's what they're meaning here by thought seed. Every thought seed sown or allowed to fall into the mind and to take root there produces its own blossoming sooner or later into act. The blossoming aspect of the seed, the initial seed that was planted, once it's blossomed, right? That's a metaphor for your action. Your thought turns into an act, right? It doesn't just remain a thought or a dream. And bearing its own fruits of opportunity and circumstances. Good thoughts bear good fruits. I agree with that. Bad thoughts bear bad fruits. Wouldn't you agree with that? The outer world of circumstance shapes itself to the inner world of thought. And both pleasant and unpleasant external conditions are factors that make for the ultimate good of the individual. As the reaper of your own harvest, you learn both by suffering and bliss. Following the innermost desires, aspirations, thoughts by which you allow yourself to be dominated, you at least arrive at their fruition and fulfillment in the outer conditions of your life. The laws of growth and adjustment apply everywhere. A person does not end up in the gutter or in prison by the tyranny of fate or circumstance, right? It's not your fate to go to jail or to be a criminal or to be a drug addict, but by the path of low thoughts and base desires. So your thoughts are low, meaning they're just thoughts. They don't turn into action, right? You don't strive high, you strive low, right? So think high, think high. That's the basis of what this is saying. Nor does a pure-minded person fall suddenly into crime by the stress of any merely external force, right? So if you're thinking positively all the time and you are refusing to be a victim of your circumstance, right? You're not going to be a criminal or fall into crime, and because you cannot blame the fact that you're a criminal, and I'm using this as an example. You cannot blame the fact that you're a criminal on your circumstance, right? Your circumstance is a product of your thought, right? So thought comes first, and then circumstance occurs, right? And I understand that people are born into their circumstance, right? But their thought can take them out of those chains, and the idea is your thought process is very important, right? What do you choose to think is important to the idea of where you will end up being, right? So thought is definitely directly correlated and in connection with action or what's going to happen. The criminal thought had long been secretly fostered in the heart, and the hour of opportunity revealed its gathered power. Circumstance does not make the person, right? Your circumstance does not identify, does not say that's who you are. It's just something that you're going through, right? The circumstance does not make the person. It reveals the person to himself or herself. So you are revealed on how you handle your circumstances, right? It's not because of the circumstances that you are who you are. It's how you handle your circumstances that determines who you are or why you are who you are. So such conditions can exist that lead us to descent into vice and its attendant sufferings apart from our own vicious inclinations, just as no such conditions can exist that lead us to ascend in virtue and success and its pure happiness without the continued cultivation and virtuous and successful aspirations. Cultivation is like, all right, a gardener, right? If you want to have good fruit at the end, to harvest good fruit, right? So you have to cultivate, you got to take care of, you got to prune, you got to pick out the weeds, you got to water, you got to ensure that they gets enough sunlight, you got to protect your plants and your farm from the savages that seek to take your harvest away from you, right? So the same holds true to thought and mind and your life and your circumstances, right? So you have a thought, it's a beautiful thought, right? So you have to cultivate the thought, you got to protect the thought. You have to water it, meaning you have to make sure it's hydrated, right? Make sure it's healthy, it stays healthy. You gotta cut out and prune the thought, right? So you have a thought. Don't let like bad aspects of your circumstance connect itself to your thought, right? You prune those out and you keep your thought pure. And if you keep your thought pure, you're gonna harvest good fruit. Right? We therefore, as the lords and masters of our thoughts, right? Our thoughts, the lords and masters of our thoughts, and God gives us the authority over our own thoughts and our actions. We have free will, right? Are the makers of ourselves. Okay, so we're therefore, as the lords and masters of our thoughts, we are the makers of ourselves, the shapers and authors of our environment. We dictate our environment. Our environment doesn't dictate who we are. You understand? So read books, become better. Become better you. Please, read books and become better at being you. Okay? And get everything you want out of life. I urge you to do that. I'm posting this on Facebook because the only thing I like to post on Facebook is good, clean, pure ideas, right? So if you have an idea and it's only for other people's good, I bless you in the name of the Lord, okay? And I'm going to cut out here. God bless you all.